convo now because we're going to go every which way.
Can I still drink my tea, coffee?
Yeah.
No.
You haven't been watching the podcast, have you, Matt? I can tell.
No,
We're drinking
Matt's such
coffee
an
non-stop.
amateur. That's all we do is drink coffee.
And chat shit. Yeah, don't worry, Matt.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
Don't vape.
Okay. I'll open a window. You don't like my vaping, is it?
I don't vape.
Casey's always vaping during the podcast.
Because I'm brown, isn't it, Matt? Hi, guys. Welcome to the latest episode. Episode number
8.
Episode number 8. And guess what? We finally got a guest.
Very special guest.
Yes.
Well, good morning.
Very Welsh. Oh my God. This is
As far as my Welsh goes, by the way.
Episode 8, but first episode with a guest.
First episode with a guest.
Okay.
Maybe season 2, episode 1 we'll call it. Yeah. How's it going, Matt? You alright?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
You can't wait to get out of here. Before we started, he's like, oh, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to go for a bike ride for 75 miles or something like that.
That's not an exaggeration either.
I've got a run today and then a 2-hour bike ride tonight now, I've decided.
Ready for the GB Masters.
Yeah.
Ready for my half Ironman the week before.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then GB Masters. Yeah.
Let's introduce Matt properly, Casey. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I got the
so
bio
Ben's
here,
actually
okay?
done some research today, which is mad. So
Okay, so for those that don't know, Matt has played senior NBL for a very long time. You played in D2 for Celts and Taunton Tigers.
Correct.
When D2 was the real D2.
When D2 was the real D2. You played D1 when D1 was directly below the BBL, and you had legitimate teams going from D1 to the BBL. You played for D1 for Bristol Flyers, and you played D1 for Bath Romans. I actually remember with Bath Romans, you played D2 for Bath Romans. You guys got promoted.
Yeah.
And you played D1, and do you remember Plymouth Raiders came down? You took us to that game.
That's correct.
And they had a full-on pro team, basically. They went BBL the next year.
That's correct.
They had the guy that was like dunking, and the rim was moving because he was dunking with so much power and stuff.
Yeah.
So Matt played the highest levels of NBL. He's also played for Wales under 15s, under 17s, under 21s, and senior men. Was also an assistant coach with the senior men as well.
That's correct, with Steve Williams.
With Steve Williams, yeah. For the last...
That was for Malta for the European Championship.
When you was the coach?
No, Steve was the head coach and I was the assistant coach then for the year. Yeah, we went to Malta for the European Championship.
Was that with Tony Berry, by the way?
Tony Berry on that team?
Tony Berry did play.
And there was an incident that happened there. We'll get onto that.
I believe there was an incident, yes.
We'll get onto that.
The last, the last maybe 10 years, you've been refereeing at the very highest levels of NBL as well. You refereed D1?
Yeah, so when I finished playing basketball, I obviously still wanted to be involved in the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I then went to the dark side, as they say, and went to officiating. Went on many courses. I even went to Poland on a referees camp. And then I refereed Div 1 men, Div 2, Div 3. Obviously the women's then, which is now what's it called now? It's not
SLB.
SLB.
Yeah, you refereed the women's.
It's not used to the WBBL, but now it's the SLB. So I refereed the SLB. So I've done quite a bit of refereeing. I've kind of taken a step back recently.
From the refereeing,
just because children and stuff, it's just really difficult to commit to everything like that. So I've refereed as well, which I thoroughly enjoy. I still do a little bit where I help the club out with Cardiff City when
massively more than help out.
So yeah,
he's there. Oh, one more thing you've forgotten, the most important coaching job you've had, apart from the City one now, you were coaching with Capitals.
So years ago, obviously you approached me. I think Chris Smith was there at the time as well.
Bryn was there.
Bryn French was coaching. So Bryn was the coach who actually started me in basketball when I was like 13, 14. So he was kind of my first ever coach. And then I coached Cardiff Capitals when Yayan was a junior then.
Yeah,
12,
Yayan
13,
Jones.
Yayan was like 12, 13. So then I coached Cardiff Capitals in the Welsh League, which was fantastic. So I've always been there or thereabouts, and we've always kept in touch, which has been great.
I booed him when he went to South Wales Police.
So
I used to play with you for South Wales Police for a little bit.
And I booed Ben as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, apologies about that. Apologies about that, Matt. But I was so salty that he left because he was so good.
I remember beating Capitals. We beat Capitals a couple of times that season, Matt, as well.
Yeah, we don't need to go on about that.
But the most important coaching job, though, for me was not any of those. Matt is also the founder of ABC Gwent, the academy.
Wow,
Matt is the person that started that. So all the guys that have come through that program, John, Lewis, Chris and John Bateman, Andy St. John, so many guys that some of those guys might have still played at decent levels, but they wouldn't have had the ABC Gwent to Nottingham pipeline, and they wouldn't be playing the levels they played at.
Yeah.
Matt was the person that started all that, so he's got coaching tree going everywhere, branching out everywhere.
So back in
round of applause. Come on, man. That's
you didn't know Matt started. Yeah, Matt,
I remember you saying about it and stuff, but I completely spaced on it, to be honest, because it's first thing in the morning. So it's my first coffee. So
that way it goes back to I first got my my PGCE in 2001 out of Cardiff Met, and I got my first teaching post at Cwmbran High School.
Yep, my school.
And obviously, I was still keen to play then, and that's how I met yourself.
Yeah, you were still playing proper high level.
I believe then you were in year 8.
Might be, 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Little
and you used to come along every morning. So because I was still playing Div 2, Div 1 then, you used to come along every morning. I would pick you up on the side of the road.
Yeah, your mum didn't want me to walk to school that early. Across the road.
Literally,
now she doesn't care.
Now she can give a fuck.
You literally, you could see the school from your house.
You could see the school from my house.
You stood on the corner of T Green Road. T Green Road?
Yeah,
T Green Road.
Shout out T Green Road.
You used to jump in the car. We just drive down the ramp. Going to the sports hall. Your mum was happy for that, and then you would come train with me every morning, where we'd be shooting, we'd be doing ladders, we'd be doing sprints, and we would do that every single day.
Every day. You'd also be doing weights at lunchtime and stuff, because you're underselling yourself a bit, because you were still playing the highest levels of NBL at this time. That was your first teaching gig, right?
That was my first.
You were a young man in your prime. You was playing for Wales, playing for high level in NBL. So you were working out non-stop.
So then, obviously, coaching, with yourself, which then you made dramatic improvements, and then you went on to play, at a high level and play national at the national as well, Welsh League and stuff.
Yeah.
And representing Wales.
Yeah.
And I wanted to continue that program in the school. Now, the reason I think I had a post at Cwmbran High School, which was called Fairwater High School.
Fairwater High School at the time.
Was they had a football academy.
Yes.
That's what they started. So Mr. Crozier or Mark Crozier then went over to the football academy, and then I became the physical education teacher. And I said to Mark, I said, look, we could do the same here for basketball. We got so much potential here. And I'm sure we'll go on to it. This is where then I made a phone call to Vic. Vic literally drove down that night, come and see in the school. Like, we're good to go.
Yeah, it's very important you mentioned Vic Fleming. Because although you founded it, Vic was the head coach of the academy.
So I wasn't speaking to the head teacher at the time, which was Mr. Cox.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. They couldn't have me then as a physical education teacher and be a basketball coach. So he said, do you know of somebody? So then that's why I brought in Vic. So then Vic then was the coach of the basketball academy, and you guys were the first year of the basketball academy?
Yeah, I was in year 11.
You were in year 11.
When the academy started, so I played a year earlier.
How long ago was that?
Year 11, I was, 15? It was 22 years ago?
22 years ago.
22 years ago.
And then Chris and John come across from Cross Achilles School.
What happened was guys started coming to our sixth form because we had the academy.
And we run the BTEC course.
Yeah, and you ran the BTEC course.
Which I still deliver now. Obviously, the specs changed. But I still deliver that now where I am in my new school. It
started as basically Fairwater boys that you coached and developed. So then as it grew, we had guys coming from Cardiff, like Lewis Tucker came from Cardiff, guys coming from Bristol.
Andy St. John used to get on the train. Yeah. So then I used to drive the minibus every day.
Yeah.
And I used to
do the Cardiff minibus, you did.
I did the Cardiff pickup, so I used to pick up Mo.
Yeah, Mo Jammer.
Yeah,
because he came to the academy. Nat Lawrence came for a spell.
Yeah, so then I picked them all up in the bus from Cardiff Central. Yeah. I would then drive to Newport train station and pick up Andy St. John.
Yeah, Jamie Bees
and all those. And then bring them at the school, and then I would drop them home or drop them off to the stations then every day on the way home as well. So I was, even though I wasn't coaching, I was still part of the whole program.
You was an integral part of the program,
logistical, trying to get everything organised and be at the games and stuff. So,
and just support as well. You were a huge supporter of the program.
And I have to say, my mum's passed away now, but she was also our biggest supporter.
Brenda,
even when I was playing National League then, back in Bristol.
Yeah.
And also in Bath.
Yeah.
I would then run the school minibus every weekend.
Take our team to the games. And take
the whole academy or all the students from Fairwater then, and they used to come to the games. My mum used to come in the bus, so she used to sit with all the students.
Vic used to come as well.
Vic used to come as well.
So Matt used to take the whole team basically to go watch D1 in Bath.
So we used to have
most home games.
We'd have a full bus every
wicked,
every home game. We would have a full bus going from school. and the students would come up and watch the basketball. And
Bath Romans had a really good set, man. It's nothing connected to the Bath team that's there now, KC.
No.
It was Antonio.
Andreas.
Antonio's the Bath coach. Yeah. Andreas from
Flyers.
Yeah. The SLV coach was Matt's coach for D1 Bath Romans.
Yeah. So basically, Dave Roper was the head coach of Team Bath Romans, and then he brought in Andreas.
Yes.
And then Andreas then followed through, and then Andreas was my coach then at Bath, and then my coach at Bristol. And then obviously he's still now the SLV coach for the Bristol Flyers, and he's been there ever sinse. So
Dave Roper was an absolute legend in basketball. Yeah. He was a lot older by the time we were coming down to watch your games, Matt. Wasn't he? He was like 40, late 30s.
What's quite nice though, like even though
he's old,
even though like now,
basketball,
going through like Gwent basketball now, we obviously there's a lot of the boys that are still playing that I taught.
They play for you right now,
and they still play. John Thorne's still playing at the City, and Lewis. But then you've got Jamie B, you've got Ryan, you've got the Langs. Yeah. They're all playing.
Well, ABC Gwent still got a team, and there's no way ABC Gwent would have a team if you hadn't started.
And then when I started at Bath Romans, like we had a fantastic team. We had like Panji Granger, Abe Ahmed,
Barry Lamble was playing.
Barry Lamble was there.
He went for Leicester. He played for Leicester Riders for a number of years after that.
He was captain of Leicester Riders, and then we also had Greg Streets, who was a junior at the time. And then went on to play in the BBL with Bristol Flyers.
Everyone knows Bristol
Flyers. Greg Street. So so that was really nice. But what's nice, obviously, this year now and last year, I've been selected for the GB over 50s, which is fantastic. And like Abe Ahmed, who I played at Bath and Bristol, is on the team this year as well.
Nice.
And then Danny James is the coach that I also played at Bath. So I'm still playing with even though I see you guys playing, which is great. I'm still playing with the guys I played with back in the day at Div 1 and Div 2 this year. So I'm really looking forward to going to Athens now in June. Training's
Have you got the pass from the missus to go?
All good to go. Yeah. My wife's away just for a long weekend.
With the girls?
No. Oh, she's away this weekend. She went yesterday. Oh,
this weekend. Okay.
She's back on Sunday, so it works out quite nice because today's my day off. Yeah. So that's not the way she planned this. So then I could drop the girls to school this morning. I've got the day to myself.
He's got it made. See,
and then
a Friday
she's
off
back on Sunday. So
full-time teacher. That's Fridays off.
Every other Friday off. With the.
He's got it made,
which is nice. So yeah, okay.
Amazing. Yeah. So look, like
from my side. Sorry, last. Go on. If it wasn't for Matt, we wouldn't be here right now, Casey. Literally.
I'd be here. I don't know about you, but yeah.
Yeah, you'd be in this house here, but we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Matt. If it wasn't for Matt, I never would have started playing basketball.
I think here, hearing that conversation and hearing that discussion, obviously there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of love there, and it's how important, because obviously I'm usually in Matt's position, right? I'm the organizer, I'm the kind of, you know what I mean? That's been kind of my role in spurts, right? So. But it's good to hear that, that you still have all of these guys still playing and stuff. So even when I still see City guys and stuff like that, who played for us years ago or wherever, and I see them playing and stuff, you always have that kind of relationship with them.
That kinship.
Yeah, but it just shows how important for basketball having those people who have, who organize and who manage is so important. Like, I think we talked on the last podcast about what it takes to, one of the questions, maybe the last podcast or the one before, what it takes to run a successful basketball club. And I think one of the key things is you need to have your logistics and administration like watertight. You need to have people who are committed, who can dedicate that time, who are not going to let you down. And that's the difference, is that sometimes you do get great people like yourself who can do it consistently, you know what I mean? But putting it all onto one person, you're setting yourself up, right? Yeah. So, like, let's talk about, okay, you guys had some great successes with the academy. Talk a little bit about what happened with the academy.
Wait, let's go back further. I got a few questions, Casey.
Okay,
we'll talk about the academy.
Sorry. It's the Ben and Matt interview. Sorry,
no.
Third wheel it.
We'll get to the academy for sure.
Yeah.
I want to know, Matt, first of all, what your first experiences with basketball were. I don't even know this myself.
Okay, so as a young kid, I was always keen to take part in sport. I used to swim for City of Cardiff. I was what else did I used to do? I used to play football, play
rugby as well.
I played rugby for school for St Tylo's. So yeah, and I used to do martial arts in Rumney High School, kung fu. And then they decided that they were going to close the martial arts down. And old Rummy High School was set up, there was a gym here and there was a gym there. And I could see across, there was some basketball going on. So I said to my mum, I said, I wouldn't mind trying that. So she said, why don't you just go across then? So I went across, met Bryn French, and I started playing basketball, and it just went from there. So Bryn said, yeah, we run every Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights from 6 till 9.
They were running every Monday, Wednesday,
Friday. Then we would run in the gym 6 till 9.
That's legit.
What was the name of the team?
Kai Castell Basketball Club.
Is Bryn still around? This is totally off topic now.
Bryn is not. It's my own topic.
Bryn is still around. Yeah.
I haven't seen him since he left.
He's still around. Yeah. I have bumped into him and spoke to him a few times. Yeah. So he's still about, Bryn. He's fine. Yeah.
I don't even know this Bryn when you first.
Oh, he's an old school guy. He's great. He's great.
So then I always remember the very first time I stepped on the basketball court. It was both the men and the women were playing, and the first person that gave me the ball was a lady called at the time Julie. She is now Julie Grady,
right?
Who is Mason Grady's, who plays for the wing for Wales rugby.
Ashton's mum
and Ashton's mum. So Ashton's mum was the first person that said, they said, because they passed me the ball and they're like, give the ball back. And she went, no, just let him have a go. I was like 12 or 13 and I was on her team just playing. And so Julie was then the first person I actually was involved in basketball on the court. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
Mason Grady actually plays pro rugby.
Yeah.
Was his mum on the Williams documentary? Or was that a different lady?
Yeah, she was.
That was her, yeah?
Yes.
I didn't know that was Ashton's mum.
Yeah, okay. So she's on the Williams documentary. But then when she played, because she played for Kai Castell Women's, because they were a high-level team as well at the time. They all played National League. So they had like Lee Walker's sister, Pamela Walker. There was Julie. And then there was also Angela.
Yeah, Angela Williams?
No, not Angela Williams. Another Angela. They were all 6'2". The three of them were like, it's like 6'2", and then they had like Jackie Ashton, Gwyneth Coles. They had a really high level. There was another Debbie, I think, was another point guard that they had. So they were playing high level.
Shout out to all these ladies. Yeah, hopefully some of them will see this.
So they had a high level of.
We're looking for female coaches.
High level of basketball in Cardiff, and then do you know Leighton Coles?
Yeah, I know Leighton.
Yeah. So his mum played as well, Janice. Right. So Janet Coles then also played for the women's team as well.
Leighton was a talented player.
Yeah, and then at the time, we had the women's team for Kai Castell when playing in the National League, and they were the best. Well, they were the best team in the UK for women's basketball at the time. And then they disbanded. Hence, then when the Ronda Rebels started, and then a lot of them then went across and played, and then they played for Steve Williams, and they went into Europe.
So the Ronda Rebels were formed out of the nucleus of the Kai Castell, or not?
A lot of the players then moved across to the Ronda Rebels when Ronda Rebels set up. They wanted to go to the high level, and Kai Castell then was disbanding. But like even their men's team then, like I always remember a gentleman called Richie Collins.
Right.
So at the time he was playing for Wales in rugby.
Right.
So he was playing flanker. And
is he Irish?
No, he's Welsh.
Oh, okay.
Richie Collins. He went on to play. He's
playing for rugby for Wales. Is he Irish?
Yeah. No. I know, but you know what it's like with like the Welsh basketball team. I spent 2 years, studying, running and catching in Wales, and now I'm part of the Welsh national team.
And I always remember the Welsh. I think I was still a junior then. I didn't play in this game, but it was the Welsh Cup final. It was this would be interesting actually. So it was the Welsh Cup final. It was Kai Castell versus Aberdare.
Oh, right. Yeah, really? Vic used to pick them. Dave Lawrence.
So Dave Lawrence played. Vic Fleming played for Aberdare, right at the time.
That's crazy.
Right, and then Kai Castell had Richie Collins.
Yeah.
So Richie Collins actually played in the Triple Crown game in the Arms Park against Ireland, and they won at 2:00. And then he came across the Sapphire Gardens and then played in the Welsh Cup final for basketball. And then he was interviewed then by the BBC Wales and after the game about the Welsh rugby and then the winning the Welsh Cup final as well.
Shout out to Richie Collins.
So he played in the 2 games in the same day.
Is he still around?
Yeah.
We need to get him on.
We need to get Richie on.
So Richie Collins.
Richie, expect a message from one of us.
He is
probably Matt.
At the time he was a police officer. He's now retired. Yeah. I think he's got a gym now in Caerphilly or something.
Okay.
So, or he's doing some sort of work there, but he is a retired police officer. But he went on to coached at Cardiff Blues Rugby,
Right.
and then he also coached.
Amazing.
I think it was either Neath or something like that. He coached a high level rugby team as well. So
I'm sure he's doing okay now. Then.
Yeah, but
we need some of these guys who have, and it's something that I was having a conversation with a few business leaders. This is like my actual job and stuff. I was talking to some business leaders and friends. I think last weekend or the weekend before, and we were talking about it, and we were saying how much further we would have got if the information from the people who had been successful, the generation above us, had passed that on.
Yeah.
And there wasn't the information and the experiences weren't passed on as you know, and we've kind of had to learn as we go along, like myself included, right? So like you've seen the professionalization of City or Capitals or whatever over the last 4 to 5 years has been huge, right? But like if we'd had that information, maybe we'd be further along. So people who are out there who Matt's talking about, it'd be great to get you back involved, in any aspect, because we're always looking for people who can bring their experience, maybe to sit on the board, maybe to help coach, maybe to be involved, turn up to game days, whatever the situation is. That information's so important.
For sure.
So important, right? And again, sorry, I just want to put that out there because I'm a big believer in there are people who've done it, like Steve Williams, like Ange, and they're just, I feel like there's so much we can learn from them, right? And, it's like that, like how long are we going to have with these people?
The information wasn't as accessible back then as well, as you're saying, it really wasn't. Like Steve told me he had to read a lot of coaching books to learn the game. Like, yes, he was reading John Wooden's books and all that to learn that game, So
but he's gone through it, right? So, both from an administrative, what loopholes. Like, I remember a conversation with Dave Thomas. This was probably about 10 years ago. Shout out Dave Thomas, still reffing now, still doing his thing. And he said, look, we had a really good fun team, like you've got with City and stuff. And, we're doing really well. And he was like, I was running it, I was doing everything, and I was feeling a bit run down or whatever. And I stepped down from my role. And then after I left, nobody else picked up the reins, and it kind of fell through. And that kind of was like a wake up call, because like, you do this for long enough, and I'm sure we'll get onto ABC Gwent and other teams and stuff, and it'll be a common thread. Like a person will just you'll need some time out, right? If you're doing this on your own, you'll need some time out. And I felt like that so many times. Like I've said to you guys, like, oh yeah, this is my last year, man. I need to take some time out.
10 years I've been here in this last year.
Yeah, well, 26 years now. And, but
it's just testament to yourselves though. Like it's all about being enthusiastic, and people come through the door and you see, oh, there's a potential. But like if it weren't for like you guys, Cardiff City wouldn't be where it is today. And it's the enthusiasm, and when you both approached me to say, look, would you come on and help as much as you can? And I said, look, well, due to family, I'll do what I can. But I've thoroughly enjoyed this year. Being back enthusiastic about doing some coaching again, which has been really good.
It's been great.
And I've thoroughly enjoyed this year.
It sounds like you're probably gonna, if you have the time, take an even bigger role next year, right? Well, it'll be more involved. Yeah, like not a bigger role necessarily. Try and be more involved.
bigger role.
No, I wish.
You're gonna do you're gonna be some of the managing stuff that you said, right? Maybe.
Yeah. So but I'm hoping I can be able to do it, because I'm not going to do as much GB stuff next year. So
nobody's expecting anything from you, though, mate.
So I'm going to. I want to try and do as much as I can. Obviously, my children are growing up now. I don't know they're 4 and 6, but
that takes a long time.
You Michael, we're children and stuff, and you guys, we've all got kids.
Yeah.
And it's difficult.
The balance is difficult.
It is balance. Like tonight, for example, training for me today now. So I'm going to do my 2-hour bike ride when the girls go to bed.
Yeah.
I'll sit on the turbo trainer for 2 hours tonight and just sweat it out, because you just got to balance things up, and it's just difficult. So if I can be there more, like I'll come to all the training sessions, that's not a problem. And if I can, and I would like to come to some more away games if I can as well.
You did
just for some consistency with the players as well, because I really found that you with them all the time, it does make a difference.
It does. You did go above and beyond what you said you were going to do this year. You said just Thursdays, just home games. You made some away games.
Yeah.
You took over for a while as well. So.
Yeah. Well, I was happy to help out because circumstances, you couldn't be helped.
Yeah.
And it needed to be done. So, I stepped in, which I was more than happy to do so. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing that.
Same.
I know it was only for a couple of weeks, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You had a solid month where you were running all practices and stuff.
And I think the boys enjoyed it as
well. The boys enjoyed it. And although it might have only been a few weeks to a month where you were by yourself, we then were basically doing it together for the rest of the season then, because it enabled that dynamic to be more
and we got some good results as well.
We did get some good results second half of the year.
Yeah, we stepped it up.
Obviously, our history makes it a lot easier as well, because sometimes 100%. Coach, assistant coach is not the most convenient, easy dynamic for some people, depending on who it is. But, with us, it was...
Shout out Suf. Gave us our worst result in 20-odd years.
It ain't just Suf. I've spoken to like Yayan Jones about assistant coaches. And
I know, but I'm just going to roast Suf anyway.
We always got to roast Suf. But Yayan Jones has said to me that, like, he doesn't like working, or doesn't know how to work with assistants and stuff, because I think a lot of coaches, they want to be in control of everything. Matt, I got more questions for you, okay?
Go for it.
So we talked about your first experience with basketball.
Yep.
But I want to know, when did you know that basketball was the one for you? Because obviously you said you played all these different things. When did you know that basketball was going to be your thing?
I think probably under 15s, when Bryn said to me, right, I think you should go and have a tryout for the Welsh team. And I went along, and I could see the level there, and I just thought, I'm not far.
Yeah.
I'm there or thereabouts of it, and I just loved it. I just loved being part of it. And years ago, you couldn't do this now, but years ago at Rumney High School, we'd be in there Christmas Day.
Right.
We would knock on the caretaker's door.
Got you.
He would give us the key.
Right.
Right. And we would go in and literally he would allow us, and he would pop back and forth.
Yeah.
Because he lived on the site. And there'd be me, there'd be my cousin Calvin, there'd be Nathan Sell, Stephen Board.
Yeah.
There would be the
Audie, God, that's the name I knew.
What's the brothers now? Richie O'Rourke.
That's the Richie I was on about.
Richie O'Rourke.
And his older brother.
Yes. And his brother.
There we go.
I know Richie.
We would be in there, like, because they all played for Paint Twin then, which then became Cardiff Capitals. And then we would be in there Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's cool.
We would be there on an all-day Saturday. Like, Bryn would organise a 24-hour set. We would just have the key, and we could just go in and out as much as we wanted
Different time back then.
But then we wouldn't go in there and mess about and cause problems or anyone would get hurt. We'd be literally in there playing basketball. And we'd be in there all day, every day, as much as we can. In the 6-week holidays, we're in there every day. We'd just be playing. And that's what we do. And even when Bryn used to go home, we still be in there 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And we just locked the door, and we just post the key back to the caretaker's little box he had in his garden. Yeah. And he was happy for us to do that. And we were only 15, 16-year-olds.
It was a different time, but also that's testament to you guys that were in the gym, because they knew you weren't going to be fucking about.
We weren't messing about. We wanted to play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I got the relationship. I still friends with Bordy and all them. I know he lives in Bristol now, but still friends with Bordy. But
is he not playing GB Timber?
No, he's not. I think because he just had another baby as well. I think commitments was another big one for him.
Because we're trying to maybe we could get him for our Masters team if he's around.
He's playing in the Masters.
Oh, who's he playing for?
He's playing for Weber, I believe.
Oh.
Well, the Weber League have got a team themselves.
Yeah, because Abe's playing for him as well.
Got you.
Yeah, so
come and play for a Welsh team, man. Come and play for Cardiff. You know you want to.
So that's how I got into basketball. Was then we was in the 15s, and I just kept on playing.
Did you still play those other sports then, or did they?
So I was still playing rugby for school, and I was still swimming up until probably a year or so after, and then I decided that I just needed to focus on one, and I just stayed to the love of basketball, and it just went from there.
You went to Cardiff Met then, didn't you, to follow your basketball stuff as well? Or was that?
So once I finished high school, I went to Coleg Glenhavron first, which was down in Trowbridge, which is now the new Rumney High School. Then I went to university. I decided to go away. I went to the University of Bedfordshire.
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
I did 2 years of HND sport in sports science. I was going to stay on and do the 3rd year as my degree, but unfortunately my mum was taken ill because she was on dialysis. So then I got a transfer back to Cardiff Met.
That's how you ended up at Cardiff Met.
That's why I ended up in Cardiff Met. And then I did my degree then in Cardiff Met. And then I did my PGC in Cardiff Met.
Right.
And then I was at Cardiff Met, and they're like, oh, we don't have a basketball coach. So I got on the phone, I rang Vic.
Right.
Vic then came and coached.
Vic was the coach at Cardiff Met.
Vic was then the coach at Cardiff Met.
Yeah, this was after the academy and all that, when he started with the academy.
This was before the academy.
So he coached Met before the academy?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So this was before.
When he was in Aberdeen and whatnot?
No? So he was living up north then.
Yeah.
In, what's it called?
He was living in
Liverpool.
In Ellesmere Port.
Ellesmere Port, that's it. He was living in Ellesmere Port with his mum. And Lucy Power or Lucy Witt, then we spoke to Vic saying, would you come down? And then he started coaching us. We then went we did then really well in the university leagues.
So when you were in uni, Vic was your coach?
Vic was my coach.
And then he went back up there before he came down to the academy?
And then he came back down to the academy.
Right.
Yeah. So he coached me in my PGC year, I believe.
Right.
The year before was the American for Cardiff Clippers, which was Chris Guyton.
Guyton, yeah.
So he lives in the States. So he was the coach, and we went to the Bucks final for that. We won Busa in the finals. Yeah, no, not the Premier.
We won below.
One below.
Got you.
We won the finals there.
Which is still good level to win. To win that, that's good level.
We went to Loughborough and won that.
That's good level.
We had an awesome shooting guard called Sammy.
Okay.
I can't think what his surname is. Katama, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Did he go play anywhere else? Or?
So then he played for Cardiff Phoenix.
Right.
And so he was playing in Division 1.
Yeah.
Like,
what year was this then when you were in uni and all of this was going on?
Chris Harper wasn't playing then at Cardiff Phoenix. Sammy was. Like he was averaging 30 a game for him.
What year are you talking about?
I don't know. They were playing. I remember them playing in Sophia Gardens when this was happening.
So it must have been about 2002, 2003?
Something like that.
Because they were Cardiff Heat first, and then they went to Cardiff Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Sammy then went and played for them, but like he was just phenomenal, out and out shooter, phenomenal.
That's a name I haven't heard before.
Yeah, and then we had another good friend of mine, Matthew. Oh my God, he's from Newport. He played for a while, and he's got a brother Stephen as well. Matt and Stephen Keane.
Okay.
Matt Keane, and then there was Lindsay, Mark Twaits. We all played on the university team together when we won.
Recognise that name, Mark Twaits. I don't know.
He's refereeing this year in the Welsh League.
No way.
Yeah. So
yes, that's why I recognise the name. Yeah. Okay.
So I've still keep in touch with some people.
That's cool.
But that's how it all started. And then Vic was my coach at Cardiff Met, and then I called him then to come down and coach the academy at Cumbrian High or Fairwood High School.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Small world.
Small world. Well, that's the thing with basketball.
It is.
Like if in the UK, if you're in basketball, it's a very small community. And going back to what you said earlier, Casey, you bump into these guys randomly out and about. It always makes you feel good, even if you just interact with them for 10 seconds. You know, the basketball community is real tight knit. I haven't got
a memory like him though, so I can't remember half of your names who I've played with, or you know.
You remember faces though. That's important.
Yeah.
You remember the moments.
Yeah, but then you know what? It's like I deal a lot with like the young kids and stuff, and like I was looking at pictures of Dave and Mike Wells and a couple of these other juniors when they first started and how they look now. I'm like they're completely different. It's just like. I'm crap, but yeah, Matt's good on it.
I've actually got a picture on my phone of when I was at Kykestel and I was in the 15s. And
you'll have to send it to us. We'll put it. We'll put it on.
Leighton Coles is in the picture. I think Bordy's in the picture as well. Maybe Richie O'Rourke's in there as well. I think.
Yeah, definitely send that, please.
Kykestel, I've got that.
We'll put that on the video when we put this up.
Check out this picture of Matt with hair.
Okay.
It makes you have solid hair. I remember when he was a teacher. I've got
a few pictures from when I was playing younger.
I've got a few more for you, Matt. Okay. I was wondering, from your perspective, what it takes to get to the level you've got to, because obviously we said you played internationally, you played at the highest levels of NBL.
Yeah.
What do you think it takes? I know this is a broad question, go wherever you want with it.
Obviously, hard work is just an out and out one there. You have to work hard, but it's the consistency. Like when we were in the gym together, we'd be in every single morning, Monday to Friday. We'd be in the gym 6 o'clock or 6:30 until 8 o'clock every day, whether it was just shooting, whether it was dribbling, whether it was doing suicide, we would be in the gym, and it has to be consistency.
Sorry, just one thing as well, important while you're talking about it, the intensity as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You weren't just in the gym going through the motions.
No.
Anyone that knows Matt,
you have to
knows if he's in the gym, he is on it. It's full speed, game speed, you know?
Yeah, and if we were running, we were doing 17 and 1s. Mm-hmm. We were making 17 widths in the minute.
We were
without a doubt.
In that gym.
And even the ladders were like a hard workout. Like you wouldn't think, the ladder's going to be an easy session. It was a tough session.
It was a tough session.
So yeah, it's just about intensity, being consistent, and you just gotta, even when you're tired, sometimes you just gotta push yourself through it and work hard, and hopefully then you get the rewards from it. So that's why I've always been a believer. So
can I ask a follow-up adjacent question to that? In the current climate, with the lack of available facilities and courts and stuff, how would you recommend people continue with that intensity now? Because there are, like, if you go to the outdoor hoops, and I'm working on it, and shout out to Cardiff Council because I am working with them and they've done loads. and to Basketball Wales, because they're doing incredible work as well. But what can you do? Like, so let's just talk about this area, Cardiff and the southeast, right? So Newport, Barry, Caerphilly, wherever. How are you going to keep that level of intensity and practice basketball when there's a lack of facilities?
Okay,
so what would you do?
So I'll go back to, I was fortunate years ago. I had the key to the gym, caretaker gave me the key, or we'd be in there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday night anyway, 6 till 9. I would be training. I was then fortunate enough, got my first teaching job. I had a gym where I could get in every morning, right? I was just lucky and I just made the most of it. But there were times where I didn't have a facility and I would be on a grass field. So I'd be working on my plyos, I'd be working on my sprints. Yeah. And then I would just, so
if you'd be in the cage in the outdoor court,
I'd be on
like Gregory with the bungee cords.
Yeah, I'd be
outside.
on outdoor courts. I'd be using the bungees. So I just use whatever facilities I could get to. Like obviously, if it was raining, I couldn't go out. But whenever the weather was dry, I would be out there, be wrapped up, and I'd be doing sprints. I'd be doing my bungee stuff. So yeah, it's just hard work, and I always remember when you first started playing, and no disrespect, you had no hand-eye coordination whatsoever.
No.
Right? But it was being consistent on the ladders, on the working out on the handles.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, it just came. Yeah. But it was just practice.
Yeah.
And you've got to just be consistent and it will pay off.
Not just no hand-eye coordination, Matt, as you know, and that never changed. I was always a terrible athlete too by decent level basketball standards, below average, whatever. Maybe long arms and tall for my position.
But within a year or so, you went from here to here.
Yeah.
Because you were consistent. You be in the gym every morning.
But,
and even if it was the day I was tired, you'd be saying, "Oh, we're gonna go to the gym tomorrow." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't want to let you. I didn't want to let you down." Then I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna be in there no matter what." And we've been to shoot, and then you got the bug, and then you'd be like, "Oh, can I go in a break time? Can I go in a lunch time?" And it's just being consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight after school, I remember when you first started playing in the academy. I'd be like, "What are you doing now?" "Oh, I'm going to the gym now. 3 o'clock when we finish. You'll be in the gym 3 till 4:30. Just working on your handles."
Every day after school.
Every day.
Every single
just
day.
Just being consistent.
3 till 4:30 at least.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Matt, it was the same as your situation. I was in there until the first booking from after school kicked us out.
Yeah.
So it was 3 till 5, 3 till 6.
And it was free.
Yeah, and it was free.
Yeah.
So,
and then obviously then you went on to Nottingham then as well.
Yeah.
Didn't you, and played and stuff, which is great. So yeah, it's just being consistent, but making sure then people are checking in with you, making sure what you are doing is the right thing.
Yes.
There's no point you doing all this work and it's not going to be
100%.
So you need to make sure what you're doing is to your benefit and it's going to help your game. Yeah, there's no point you running 10 miles. You need to be doing short, sharp stuff.
Yeah.
Ready for court stuff, which then makes a huge difference. So yeah, so just hard work.
Hard work. No, it's interesting you talk about those ball handling drills and that as well, because I'm sure you're the same. You and I now can still pick up a ball and just go easily just do all those drills now because we just used to do them so often,
Yeah.
So.
Like teaching now today, like I always try and mix it up with the students, and I'm like, right, let's bounce with one ball. I say, right, I'm giving 2 balls.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, right, and it's just, and they really enjoy it. And you think after a while, even like say 20 minutes, all of a sudden then they can either bounce 2 balls together or one alternate. But it's just practice, and all of a sudden it will come.
All those drills, Matt, that you used to do with me, I was doing those drills every Sunday this year with our guys, like our younger guys, the ball handling and all that, like the exact same ones you used to do with me.
And they can just be sat on the floor doing it. You haven't, like you said, for facilities wise.
Yeah.
You can do those things in your house.
That's what I said.
You can do these things on the patio, out in your garden.
These
little things, and they will make massive differences when you go back on the court. Yeah. So you don't need a facility to do some things. Yes, maybe running and shooting. Like you're fortunate as I just walk through your thing. Like you got a hoop out your garden.
Nice setup.
Yeah, which is nice.
You've got no excuse to have such a poor jump shot with that setup.
Hey, ask the guys in Pavilion. Yeah, I took like 4 shots and I made like 2 of them. Yeah, okay, so
50%.
50%. Yeah, if it's midi, it's fine. I'm working on my strength conditioning because I'm struggling from behind the arc, like properly, like you know what I mean. But if I'm within that key or that key area, I'm lights out, baby.
We covered this last time, in King of the Mid-Range.
Yeah.
Where my grandmother lived in Rumney, my cousin and I, we put our basketball hoop out the back.
Nice.
And we put a spotlight out there. We'd be out there until 10, 11 o'clock at night just playing one-on-one.
Yeah.
And these little things make the differences. Yeah, we didn't have a full-size court,
but
small little area, but we would practice.
And playing one-on-one is good as well.
Massive. One-on-one is so good.
Obviously, Matty Norman used to be with me in the gym after school every day, and we would just play one-on-one for hours, like hours.
He's another one, like I think we try and get back involved. He's still in, obviously, in Cardiff, and I still.
I think Norman, that name rings a bell.
He used to play for Hunters. He used to play for Cardiff Met when they won promotion in
He's
NBL
like
years
6'4",
ago.
6'5".
Yeah, 6'4", 6'5", dark hair, athletic.
My guy, how old is he?
Year older than me.
Yeah.
So he's probably 38, 37 right now.
But like, he's got a daughter Ella, who's the same age as my Ella, and I do bump into him every now and again at park runs and stuff. So he's doing a lot of. He still keeps himself in shape.
He keeps himself in shape.
He does loads of cycling. He still goes out for runs and stuff. But he'd be another good one.
You know him if you saw him immediately. He played for Tribal for a few years in the Welsh League.
He probably hates me
because he was athletic as well, wasn't he?
Very athletic.
Very athletic. Really athletic. When he was playing the academy stuff.
He had loads of dancing game, didn't he? Loads of dancing game. Yeah,
it does ring a bell.
Shout out to Mike Norman.
Did he play for Kelp? Did he play for Kelp?
No, he only played NBL for Cardiff Met. When Vic was the coach, I believe, and they got promoted from D4 to D3.
Okay,
with like James Dorr and when James Dorr was really.
But again, he didn't play basketball until we.
No, he didn't.
We got it.
He was a complete beginner.
Yeah,
he was. But he actually played on the team that kind of followed on from the team you played on. Because I forgot to mention, you played for Cardiff Met towards the end of your career.
Yeah.
With Bordy and James Dorr.
Yeah.
And then like Chris Bateman or John Bateman was playing and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of years later, all the guys had left, but Matty Norman was playing for that, basically the same follow-on of that team, and they got promoted.
Yeah, I think that was around about 2003, 2004, because I think there was a big thing, because Bordy was playing for Clippers, and I think Clippers were in National League as well at that time.
Yeah.
And I went to a game and Bordy was playing, and they were playing up in the Nyack, with the thing in...
Was Todd Stone playing then? For them?
No, 2003, 2004. No.
He did play for Clippers.
It might have been before that, because I think Todd Stone was more sort of 2002 to 2005 in Swansea. He was coaching.
He was doing Swansea Academy. There was a time though where Cardiff Met and Cardiff Clippers were both in the senior.
Yeah. And Bordy went over, and I remember there was a whole. And I went to watch the game. It must have been about 2002, 2003. And Bordy was playing, and I was there, and there was a whole bunch of Clippers lads. I think it was Chris Horrocks was there, and they were like giving him him shit, like, but jokingly, like
they were in Nyack, they were on the stands watching. I think I was at that game.
Like a boo, Bordy. But like obviously with a bit of love and stuff, because he's like their boy or whatever.
Yeah, because
like,
we used to go to a couple of those games as well, Matt. You used to take us to a few of those when you were playing Cardiff Met towards the end, or Vic used to take us or whatever, after our games.
But just someone you mentioned then, Chris Horrocks. Okay, he's another one, and Phil Jones, who played for Cardiff Club at the time. Their effort and their work rate on the court and off the court was just next to none. Like, I thought I used to train hard. Like Chris and Phil used to be in the gym in Sophia Gardens every day.
Well, that's why
they would be lifting every morning. Yeah,
he was a big lad.
Chris Horrocks was a phenomenal player.
Yes, he was.
By far one of the best players I've ever played with. He was quick. He was athletic. He wasn't the tallest.
No, he wasn't. But
and he played at the high level as well. Played in Europe. But it was all down to hard work. And the time he put in the gym, whether it was in the weight room or whether it was on the court, he would be doing something all the time, or even in his house and stuff. He'd be working really hard. And Phil Jones was exactly the same.
But that's a great transition, man.
Now lives in Germany.
Yeah, he played pro in Germany, didn't he?
Phil Jones played pro in Germany.
He was a big name when I was a kid coming up. There was a lot of guys dotted around like that who didn't have much info about. You knew they were playing pro.
Because he came from the Ronda, then he came down and played for the Clippers under Mike Gould, with the Cardiff Clippers. So there was me, Chris Horrocks, and Phil Jones, or Dopey we called him then at the time. The three of us all played on the same team, which was really good.
That's a high level team.
So where did the connection come with Nottingham? And I think we've touched on it before, but
that's a Vic thing, isn't it?
That's a Vic thing.
That's a Vic thing.
Vic was a very good friend with
Curtis Xavier,
and still is good friends with Curtis Xavier.
Curtis Xavier was he played professionally, didn't he, for a number of years in the Budweiser League as it was then.
But for half a season, he actually coached the Cardiff Heat.
He coached Chris Harper for half a season. He came down. He used to live with Tony Hinchy, I believe.
Yes.
Curtis Xavier used to live with Tony Hinchy for a short spell. He was coaching the pro team in Cardiff.
Yeah,
incredible.
That's how I first met Curtis.
Like, got you. He's a character.
Yeah.
He'd be someone who's great to get on. But Matt, what you're talking about then is a good transition, because another question I had was, could you give us some of the best players you've ever played with?
Top 5.
If you can, off the top of your head. So you just mentioned Chris
in Wales, or
anyone you've played with at any level.
And then name the levels and the teams.
Competitive level, though, not just scrimmaging.
Casey, Cardiff Capitals, obviously.
Chris Horrocks definitely is up there.
You can mention the Millfield guys like Justin Phoenix and all that if you want.
Okay, yeah.
You used to coach at Millfield basketball camp as well. That's what we should mention.
I used to do some stuff at Millfield, which is fantastic. So I have to say Chris Horrocks would certainly be up there. Justin Phoenix. I didn't play on the same team as him, but he was obviously one of the coaches.
With or
at
against, sorry,
Millfield.
Matt. With or against.
Justin Phoenix, that played the Sheffield Sharks at the time.
He was a big name in British basketball.
Who their coach was now coaching the Timberwolves.
No, we just seen on the TV.
Yeah,
Chris Finch.
Chris Finch.
So you can go from the BBL to the NBA. It can happen. Even side note, sorry, I know, but Masai Ujiri, the name I might be getting the name wrong. The GM
of Toronto,
the GM of Toronto.
Yeah.
He was actually a player, coach, manager for Derby in Division 1. So theoretically, you can go from D1 NBL to the NBA. It has been
and then there's another coach in the NBA now, isn't it?
Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
He was Brighton.
Those guys used to be on Sky Sports doing the coverage a lot. They had like the studio with Kevin Cadle back in the day, and they'd be doing the coverage of the games. Sorry, best players you played with or against?
Player I played against was for Slovenia. He had just been drafted in the NBA. I'm trying to think of his name. Milic.
Not Milicic?
No. His name will come to me in a second. But he was a phenomenal player.
Oh, I bet.
We went to the European Championships in the under-21s. We were in Madeira. There was myself, Chris Horrocks on the squad. And Slovenia we played against, and he was just absolutely at a different level. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
He'd just been drafted. He was like under-21s, but I can't think of what team he'd just been drafted to, but he was a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
My goodness. Panji Granger.
Yes.
He played at Bristol and played at Bath.
As a junior, he was like he was
GB. He played at Manchester. Panji Granger was a great player.
I remember watching him for you towards the end of his career, but he was playing with you at Bath.
Yes, he
was. Watching him, that was really good.
I brought his name up already. A guy who played for Cardiff Clippers. He was the American guard called Chris Guyton.
Got you.
He was an out-and-out shooter. He was phenomenal. There was a guy that played for Cardiff Heat called Ted Hotlinger.
Right.
He was the American. Played a 4. He was also phenomenal.
Did you play with Harper?
I was going to say Chris Harper would certainly be in that.
Yeah, he's up there at the top of them.
Without a doubt. So I always remember when he first came here, they were playing in the ice rink. And the speed and the athleticism that he had, he's probably been the best American I've ever seen play in this country.
He was absolutely
phenomenal.
He used to have braids or dreads?
So yeah, he did.
That's what I remember him. Yeah.
I've got pictures of. We'll put up some pictures of Harper back in the day.
And then there was another American playing at the time called Darryl Gowans.
Okay.
He was a 6'6" centre for Cardiff Heat at the time, and they used to run a play where, where we set the back screen onto the block.
Yeah.
And Chris Harper would throw it in from the sideline, and Darryl Gowans would alley-oop dunk it.
Got you. On the sideline play?
From the sideline play. And then he'd have an alley-oop dunk, and they would guarantee like 2 of them a game. And I always remember Wayne Ferguson, who was hilarious, phenomenal player as well. Right. In the end, he would say to the guy on the other team, "I'm now going to set a back pick on you, but he's going to dunk it." and they would still do it because like Wayne Ferguson would just nail the back pick, and Darryl would just come off the back of the screen. Chris would throw the lob, and he would just get a dunk off it. It was a phenomenal. But yeah, Chris Harper is certainly probably the best American I've seen play in this country, without a doubt, out of all of them.
Good answer.
And I'm still very good friends with Chris.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. We're hoping
I'm going for, hopefully, I was supposed to go for some coffee with him and some lunch this past Tuesday, but we're going to reschedule it. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better and stuff, because he's had some health issues and stuff.
Some health issues, yeah.
So hopefully I'll go with it, and hopefully we can get him on the pod as well, because I've done a podcast with him, it was just me, but I think it'd be good to get Ben in there as well. But like Chris is hilarious, but he's also so knowledgeable about the game, and he's got a unique perspective on things as well in Wales. So I really appreciate that as well.
It sounds. I have got one more question. It sounds like the levels dropped off quite a bit from those years. Because you're talking about these high-level Americans. We have no one like that by now.
No one in Wales. No. What I would say, Chris for me was an inspiration, and I could see the hard work that he put in. Like he's just like
Harper or Horrocks?
Both of them.
Okay.
Just like Chris Horrocks and Chris Harper, though, they'd be in the gym and their work rate was phenomenal. So Chris Harper and I, we would play in the Jubilee Hall for like an hour, hour and a half, and we play one-on-one full court.
Yeah, full court.
You know, when I was only a junior then, and he used to push me and push me and push me, and I don't think I would be where I am today if it wasn't for Chris Harper, because the amount of time and effort he put into me by working me hard in the gym, lifting and showing me things, and the work rate was all down to Chris.
Shout out again to Chris.
And I'm, you know, he is a true friend of mine, and he always will be. And ever since he's been in this country, and he lives on, we've always been friends, and we'll continue to be friends. But a lot of it would be down to Chris.
So he did for you what you did for me.
Exactly.
Paid it forward. I'm a Chris Harper lineage.
Just to jump in on Chris, I mean, like those of us who played under maybe some of the younger guys who are watching this now don't realize, but Chris's training sessions were infamous because you'd come in there on a preseason, and if you didn't have 2 or 3 people vomiting during the session, it was unusual. Like we've run sessions where guys have gone out and had to throw up because he's come in and done it.
Fitness.
But I think people forget, like Chris Harper was drafted to the Spurs.
Yeah.
In the NBA, the same year Michael Jordan was drafted. Okay, he was a little bit lower down in the draft, but he was drafted.
But yeah. He played high level. He played it for Oregon, right? NCAA. He played the highest level.
And then an injury happened, and then his career path took a different route and stuff. But he's up there, right? He's got that mentality from the 80s. He's got a tie to 80s basketball, and that era of basketball, everyone looks at it and they say, look, it's a great, it's fantastic. And for that era, he was just what he brings to the court, both in terms of coaching and still playing today. I mean, like you put him on the free throw line and he's going to hit 99% of those shots. It's just unbelievable,
I always remember Chris came over, and at the time, I think Chris Horrocks was in his peak and a phenomenal athlete. And we were down at Channel View Leisure Centre training, and Chris Horrocks came to one of the Phoenix sessions, and Tony Hinchy was the coach at the time, and we had to do this one-on-one drill.
Right.
And I think it just happened that Chris was playing one-on-one against Chris.
Special time.
And I think everyone just stopped to watch.
Yeah.
And like Chris Horrocks just couldn't get past him.
Yeah,
because he's just like Steve Nash was when he was at the Millfield camp. He was just so quick.
Yeah.
He just couldn't just get past him. And then when they changed the roles over, Chris would just get off a shot whenever he wanted to. And it just looked just so easy for him. But we all know how good Chris Horrocks was. And that was just a different level that Chris Horrocks, level that Chris Horrocks was at the time.
Yeah.
Was just another level. It was just phenomenal, and he could just score whenever he wanted to. He was really phenomenal, cool. Athletic. He was so quick.
The guys that were lucky enough to be at that particular session, that's a moment right there.
That was, and I always remember that moment. I bet. When I just stood in the baseline and just watched it happen.
For a young guard, is there anything better to watch in this country than that?
It was phenomenal because they were both at their peak level, well, both at the high level, which was great for me.
Amazing.
I've been around the right people.
Yeah, that's what a big part of it is, isn't it?
It's been around the right people.
I got one more for you. Oh, 2 more really, Matt, I guess.
Okay.
Quickly. Do you want to talk about some of the best coaches you've had?
Andreas.
Yeah, of course. Shout out Andreas, coaching BBL,
SLP. Bryn French. He was the one who started me playing basketball. Yeah, without a doubt. Vic.
Yeah.
Vic has had a big influence on me, through university. And then I think Vic is a phenomenal coach for development
100%
of students, okay, or for like 16s, 18s. Phenomenal coach. He's got
work drills,
technical stuff that he has.
I still do that with the kids, the guys now on our team in this.
Is amazing. Sessions. The technical ability that he has regarding bringing people up, bringing young children up, or young players up, developing skills. He's next to none.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to think who else.
Where's Vic now? Where is he now?
He's living in Cumberland. He's I see him occasionally. I pop in and see him occasionally. He's doing well. He's happy living life, but
not far from your mum, is he? He's moved now, hasn't he?
He's not far at all from my mum.
No, he's just not far at all. Yeah, so I would definitely say Bryn, Vic, and
Andreas.
Nice. Yeah, because Andreas at that level.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Bryn was obviously my junior coach. He started introducing me to it, and then Vic the technical stuff. One other, and we haven't mentioned him today, is Andy Brown.
Yeah, sure. We haven't mentioned him for the whole podcast.
No.
Apologies to Andy Brown.
Downtown Andy Brown.
Yeah.
So he was my Welsh under-17s coach.
Right.
And we played in the small nations, and it was England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and our tournament was at Sapphire Gardens.
Right.
So we actually stayed at Sapphire Gardens for that weekend.
Nice. I did that before.
And Andy Brown was my coach. But yeah, again, technical.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. And I first met Andy when he was coaching the Cardiff Heat. That's where they first started. Andy Brown was the head coach of Cardiff Heat. That's when I first met him. But he was I met him before that because I was in the 17. Sorry, yeah, I met Andy Brown when I was in the 17s, and then he went on to be the Cardiff Heat coach. But yeah,
he was a huge name back then as well in basketball circles.
Yeah,
when I first started playing, he was a huge name.
Yeah, and I think what's so good now, what's so nice now that he is back involved again with Swansea.
Yeah,
he's been helping out Gav Wills this year.
Seriously,
so he's coaching. He's coaching one of the teams in Swansea.
One of those West Wales
junior
teams.
Yeah. West Wales Dragons.
Because they got a couple of NBL teams now.
Yeah, they. I told you, Swansea's improved so much, and I don't know if it's the impact of Andy Brown, but he's been involved like the last 2 years. He's definitely got an old school approach and stuff.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
But he's like, I remember Andy when I was a kid as well. Like, this is going back again, 30 odd years and stuff. But he knew his stuff. It was Andy and Frank. Obviously, Cardiff's gone through a lot of transitions over let's say from 95 to where are we at 2026, or that's like 31 years.
Yeah.
We've had my cat wants to get on the podcast. Hushy.
She's okay. Hello.
Yeah, she'll just keep meowing and wanting some. Shout out my cat. So, we went through those transitions. So we went from the Clippers. I think the Clippers folded like 2003, 2004, something like that.
I'm not quite sure of the dates.
And then it transitioned, and then we had the Heat and the Phoenix as well in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then it went through
Cardiff Celts.
Went through to the Cardiff Celts,
which is they played out of
Glen Havron.
Didn't they?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Chris Horrocks was the coach then.
Player coach.
Yeah. When we set up capitals and stuff, like he would send like junior guys like Joe Franks and a couple of other guys.
Mike Gregory was there then at the time.
Team was stacked. Asa played for that team. Tony Berry played. Gareth Biddle played.
Yeah,
that team was absolutely stacked. Robbie played. Robbie was an exceptional junior. People don't realize how good he was as a junior. Man.
Robbie. A guy called Dan as well. He's now a triathlete. Dan Miles.
Okay.
His name was. He was a shooting guard for him.
I remember Dan. I don't think I have any connections with him, but I heard his name a lot.
And Matt Dorr played.
Of course, Matt Dorr. We've not mentioned him already. Yeah, Matt Dorr was
phenomenal.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal player. Yeah.
Frank Dorr's son.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Phenomenal. Frank's other son was a good player when he played juniors as well. Dan was a good shooter, good player. Dan Dorr. He's a good player.
Okay, right. Yeah. No, okay. So, when we transitioned from that period, and it seems like there's like a 5 to 8 year sort of period of basketball with each of these Cardiff clubs, apart from what we've got with City, where we've maintained it. What do you think?
And Met.
Met's a different situation because it's a university, right? So it's always going to maintain a level of stability and keep things going, right? So I think we've talked in depth about Met and the great things that they've done under Lucy and now under Sarah. Although I've never had a conversation with Sarah more than hello or nod. But again, that's what I hear. But I've never had a conversation with her in God knows how many years she's been there now as well. So she's taken over now.
She's the head of it now.
She's the head of it now. What's Lucy doing now? Is she? This is side.
She's
lecturing. Yeah,
she's lecturing. I think she still lectures at Cardiff Met.
She's not involved in the.
I honestly don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
And so you've got these 5 to 8 year periods. What do you think the common denominator was? Because we get loads of questions and people are always interested in, excuse me, in. So what do you think the common denominator was which helped these clubs become successful, but also led to their downfall? What was the common denominator, do you think? And I don't think it's players per se. So I'll say that,
No, because the players stay the same. They go from club to club.
Yeah.
It's people like yourselves who are being enthusiastic and being consistent. In relation to why and I think that's the reason why they were so successful. But why they've fallen, financial
infrastructure, infrastructure, like we always talk about.
Things that are not in place, or maybe they've tried to go on too quickly, and then they haven't got they haven't got things in place then to take that next step up to the next level.
Yeah.
Like you've done it, like from Cardiff Capitals, and you've built it through, and that's why you've seen a good progression, and you continue to work hard, and you've got someone like the main cog of it trying to keep it all together. Whereas
that's took 15, 16 years though,
Yeah,
Casey, as well.
Yeah, I mean, look,
you know?
Matt have a very successful sort of thing as well, so I think it's...
it is hard work. You've got to be on top of it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. Whereas
Excuse me, guys, sorry.
I think also what I can see is like John and Manny and them at Tribal,
yeah.
they're doing a very similar thing, aren't they? Where they're building their clubs up slowly.
Yes.
They got more junior teams now. They've got more senior teams. They're trying to do a masters team now as well. So they're also doing a fantastic job.
They are.
So they're being consistent and they're in it together and they all work hard. They don't just rely on one person to do everything.
Yeah.
Like you've got, you're the main person at the City, what I can see, but you've got people in the background doing different things for different age groups or different things, which then helps you, and then you're just keeping on top of it all.
That's what enabled the clubs to grow.
You can't
just you and only you at one point.
Yeah, and I think just going back to Matt before I had that coughing fit, I think because they've had Lucy Power and they've had the university, they've had that cog, they've had that rock essentially to stabilize them through those things. And obviously I've done that, but I think going forward, and the last 4 or 5 years for us have been me trying to empower everybody to do what they feel they need to do, because I can't do the coaching, I can't do all of the fixtures. We're talking hundreds, sometimes thousands of fixtures a season,
and I think some people don't understand. Like, let's for example, now let's say the Div 2 men's got a National League game, right? It's not just about you coaching or me coaching, right? It's setting up, getting the table officials organised. Yeah, it's setting up the court, getting the 24-second clock, getting the chairs out, getting the benches out. All those things have to be done. And if they're not done, then it just doesn't run properly. And then people think, oh my God, this is a shambles. They're not going to come back. You've got to show that you're organised and everything is set up and you've got the right people in the right places doing these things.
Yeah.
And it makes a massive difference.
For sure.
Without a doubt.
If you want to go fast, go on your own, right? And that's what I'm seeing is the common trend, right? If you want to go fast, go on your own, right? 1, 2 people, go on your own. If you want to go far, it's a group of us.
Yeah. Help each other, because on your own, it's a massive, massive job. And I think that's where then things break down. And like traveling to away games.
Yeah. It's a logistical thing to organise.
If you start paying for buses every time, it's going to cost you an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
One thing I would say, I always had to put my hand in my pocket whenever I played basketball when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I played for Wales. I go away. I paid to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I always had to pay for everything. It wasn't subsidised. I paid the full whack. I played at Bath. I used to pay for my own travel.
Yeah.
I used to pay for all my own travel.
Yeah. And you're going to Bath 3 times a week.
I was training training twice a week, and then I was going to a home game. So 3 times a week I was paying.
And if you were lucky, the game was in Bath. You might be travelling further for an away game.
I was just lucky.
I think the difference is obviously it's a different culture now, both in terms of what is expected by players and what's available out there. But also, I think the financial situation of the economy and stuff proportionally, it's so much more expensive. So, final something that we cover almost every episode is the SWBA. So D1 right now.
Yeah.
It looks like Bather have won the league. All right.
Have they though? Are we going to do it? They haven't.
7 wins, 5 losses.
That's not a winning league record. What's our record, KC?
9 wins, 3 losses, and we are third.
That's a better record. What's RCT's record?
8 wins, 2 losses.
And where are they in the table?
Below us.
Why is that?
Oh, Matt, you definitely have not been watching the podcast, have you? We've been talking about this the whole time. The Welsh League table is bullshit, Matt.
So they've got 1 game to play, and it's supposed to be against us, but that hasn't been played. So there's obviously there's 7 teams.
They give you points for playing in the games. It's a bit of nonsense.
So there's only 12 games.
The top 2 teams then are Cardiff City and Gladiators.
Exactly, but they're not. Yeah, exactly, Matt. Exactly.
Yes, I'm just going off what's on
We
the.
played Vader and we beat them.
Of course. You played that game, Matt.
I played that
Yeah.
game. Yeah,
You beat them at home too.
Me,
of course.
Lewis, and Tom.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'm going off of what's written here
What's
right
his name
now.
got fouled out in the third quarter?
John?
No.
For us?
Yeah.
Who?
Okay.
Something.
So I'm going off what
Sid Khan. Sid Khan got fouled out in the third quarter and he went home.
That's a common thing for Sid this year. He got a game.
Yeah, but we won though. Yeah,
Yeah.
John Thorne played as well.
Yeah, the table's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
John,
Matt.
Tom, and Lewis, and myself.
So based on SWBA, South Wales Basketball Association or South Wales Basketball League D1, Bay the Knights have played 12 of their 12 games, and they are 7-5, and they at this moment in time they've won the league.
They've completed more fixtures then, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, no, they played the same amount as us, but we've only got 18 points for some reason.
Yeah, how that got 9? Ridiculous, honestly.
Bay the Knights and Swansea Storm. Swansea Storm are 1 from bottom, so they're 6th out of 7. They're in the cup final.
Matt, you know what happened with the cup, right? This was bullshit too. They reckon we didn't have the license numbers on the table on the sheet. Everyone was licensed. The refs, everyone, but
and the refs told us to play.
They kicked us out of the cup. We beat Barry.
They viewed our licenses online.
It gets worse actually, Matt. We beat Barry, right?
Yeah.
And then they said the Barry are going through because we didn't do the paperwork right, which was nonsense to begin with. Then Barry folded, so they're out of the cup too. And the cup finals ended up being Beaver and Swansea, which anyone in Welsh basketball knows. The final should be RCT and Cardiff City, unless Cardiff might have a team, and then it should be 2 of those 3 in the final.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And then we might be at the. You reffing the final tomorrow?
I'm reffing the final.
And I might even go and watch, but it is ridiculous.
Where's
the final? Talabon.
It's in Talabon.
I think it's 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Shout out Ross, who's my crew chief tomorrow.
Yeah, shout out Ross.
But unfortunately, I've got my girls because Becca's away, so I've got the girls all day.
I might go and enjoy that game, but it's just a ridiculous scenario.
Shout out to Bather, right? Okay, because Bather have got to the finals. I think it's the first time they've got to the final in nearly 2 decades, right? So at least in the last 10 years, they haven't got
It's
there.
just silly though. It should be a showcase for the best teams. It's just silly.
That's an interesting thing though, right? Because not about the league and whatever, but Bather have been around for years.
Yes, they have.
Right? And they don't want to go National League or nothing, but they just keep their little. Yes. They just
sustain it every time.
They sustain every year. They always got a team to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're consistent. They always fulfill all their fixtures. Mm-hmm. You know, and the hats off to them because you know they don't aspire to go National League or nothing because they know they haven't got the structure in place or they haven't got the people who can put the time and effort into it. But they always have a team in the league. They always fulfill their fixtures, and you can always kind of guarantee on them that they will be there to be part of the league.
That is important, Matt.
It's really
right. I echo everything you just said. At the same time, the league setup structure is ridiculous, and the final being those 2 teams is just silly. So.
Shout out to Barry Huskies and Caerphilly Cobras. Barry Huskies have won the league with 12 wins, and Caerphilly Cobras have come second. Both are in the cup final on, I believe, May 16th. So shout out to those guys. Anything else we want to cover?
No. The final should be interesting tomorrow, Swansea and Beaver, in the sense of it might be a close game.
Where they have in the league.
Yeah, because of where they are. It might be a close game, you know, unless Swansea get some ringers in again, like if Sol Walker going to show up, because that's probably, if he plays, that's probably Swansea win.
Okay, amazing.
I'll say one last thing.
Go for it. Yes,
so
please.
Obviously I'm 50 now, and basketball for me is always just keeps giving. Like I finished playing basketball a fair few years ago, and I just thought that's me done, finished playing. Yeah, but it always just keeps giving. Like I've been fortunate in the last 2 years to play for the Team GB for the over 50s in the FIMBA setup, and it is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it. And you know, even if you have decided to stop playing basketball, right, you can still play. Because there's always something out there. Where we got the Masters coming up now in Cardiff. In June.
Cardiff City have got a Masters team in there.
June the 9th. Is it June the 9th and 10th?
13th and 14th.
Or 13th and 14th, sorry. June 13th and 14th, you've got the Cardiff Masters. And again, there's going to be teams playing in there. There's lots of teams being played in there. So, yeah, as we go back to like the love of basketball and we got friendships and so all that, you know,
it keeps giving, you're right.
Like I was so fortunate last year. I went to Switzerland to the World Champs, and I sat in one of the arenas and I watched the over 85s.
Oh way!
Right, and I got video clips of it.
That's class.
USA versus Brazil.
That's amazing.
Right, and it was phenomenal. Full game, and the American guard crosses him over at the halfway line. They go for a finger roll underneath the basket, but they're 85 years of age.
I love it.
And they still do it because they love the game, but also because of the friendships they've made and the connections they've made. And
basketball never stops.
Basketball never stops. Yeah. So please don't think if your basketball career is over, and I keep telling these people, you can still play or you can still contribute to something, whether it's coaching or whether it's helping out with a junior team, because you can still get positive memories from playing basketball. And we all know these days health and well-being and people's mental state with dementia and all that, these things just keep you a little bit sharper, keeps your mind occupied, and it makes a big difference.
Amazing. Difference. What a way to, that's a great way to wrap up.
Fantastic.
What a way to wrap up. Yeah, Matt, thank you so much. Thank you for everything, Matt. Not just for coming here today.
No problem at
all. For my whole life, Matt, thank you, because I would not be doing any of the things I'm doing right now if you hadn't have randomly got a job in Cumberland High School. So thank you very much, Matt.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes.
And share, and I'll try not to cough.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Matt, thanks again for being here. Hope you'll get some more guests. See you on the next one.